So while I do see an opportunity here to mine, whether it's with a group of your own miners, if you want to invest with some friends and maybe make a company, or join a pool and split a share of their profits, because the hash rate, the challenge, or I should say the difficulty level of Bitcoin is lower now. I think it dropped by some 28%, which just means it was easier to make money off of mining. Because if all those miners were kicked offline in China, then every couple months, I believe, or every couple weeks, and it may vary, the difficulty of the Bitcoin network for how hard that puzzle is adjusts automatically, which is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So that means there's a window until new miners find a place to go. Okay, so every one of us has more of a chance. Having said that, I'll just say, if you want to make money off of Bitcoin, I think it's easier and cheaper to just buy it from an exchange and hold it on a hardware wallet. Okay, that's why I tell my parents. I'm not going to tell them to mine, even though I might be considering getting into that. But for them, just buy some Bitcoin, sit on it. I'll help you with it. Let's wait 10 whatever years plus years in them. Let's talk about it. That I think is the easiest. Okay, next question, probably one of the most common questions: is Bitcoin legal? Is it taxable? Is it regulated? The short answer for all of these is it depends. Isn't that just great? So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by it depends? Are you asking whether Bitcoin is legal as an asset or legal as a currency? Because countries have ruled differently on both. In the US, Bitcoin's legal. The SEC doesn't view Bitcoin as a security, but as a currency, like the US dollar or euro, while the IRS taxes Bitcoin as property through capital gains and capital losses. But Bitcoin isn't legal everywhere. In fact, in some countries like Russia and China, and now I think India, as of a couple months ago, they've gone back and forth restricting and allowing Bitcoin use, investment into the space, and whether you can trade it multiple times dating back to 2012 and 2013. I think China has done the most back and forths on this, just factually speaking. There are a couple official and unofficial sites that I use and recommend others use to check or ensure that the latest regulatory, legal, security, and financial crime related Bitcoin updates can be found. So for the USA, again, that's kind of been my focus. Some of the best official websites that I've used that have this information includes the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Bitcoin and other virtual currency related investments. This site primarily relates to how the SEC views Bitcoin as a currency and as an asset. Next, the chairman's testimony on virtual currencies and the roles of the SEC and the CFTC. Another one, and I'll include all of these as links, but Bitcoin is not a security. The IRS has one called Virtual Currencies, and this site primarily deals with the tax implications of virtual currencies or digital currencies. The Library of Congress has a good official site called Cryptocurrency. You can find actually a lot of resources from this one place. There's the U.S. Treasury, which talks about FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is important to keep up on. And unofficially, I've checked a couple of sources, and I still continue to check them. One is Wikipedia. If you go to the legality of Bitcoin by country or territory page, you obviously have to take this site with a grain of salt because it's user-generated data. But seeing as all this data is cited by actual other reliable sources, you can somewhat rely on the veracity and validity of these data points. Investopedia, I took a lot of the definitions for the words and terms I've used from this site, but they have a really good cryptocurrency page. You can go to the global legal status and global regulatory framework. Another question, very, very, very common question, should I get into Dogecoin? Is there another altcoin that you believe in, Peter, that I should get into? and maybe get the same returns you got with Bitcoin? This is a hard one to answer. Not because they're not out there. It's just because I've spent the majority of my time, at least over the last year or a couple years, focused only on Bitcoin. And which means I haven't given a lot of thought to other altcoins or even the new ones that have come out and the tokens that have split off that, or that have, or they've had their own splits. I have invested over the years in the past in about 25 other altcoins, cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin. Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Stellar, Cardano, Tron, Augur, Golem, Factom, Binance, to name a few. And I believed in these at the time because I'd either personally done research on them, I heard positive things from people, my friends, I read other research that said the same thing. The problem is I don't know now the latest on them, okay? And from what I've seen, I'd still say 95 plus of all these cryptocurrencies are worthless or they're scams. Additionally, I feel that Bitcoin can and will do everything, anything that any of these other coins claim to be able to do or do better than Bitcoin, either now or in the future. And that doesn't mean that Bitcoin will do things better than these other coins in the future, but it also doesn't mean that Bitcoin won't do these things better than these other coins in the future. Bitcoin's a beast and it's not slowing down, it's only getting better. I've talked about how I've become more of a Bitcoin maximalist over the years, but I also admit that I need to be careful with that if I'm going to be perfectly honest and fair, because I don't want to be too dismissive of other coins, especially where credit should go, where credit's due with some of them. So I listed some of the other coins in a previous video if you want to check those out. After this e-course is completed, I plan to do a little bit more formal, focused research on some of these other altcoins that I might believe in, just to see if there's any value in them, if there's any benefit that actually has a real legitimate shot, and sharing that or using that as a service or something in the future. So those are the most common questions. Believe it or not, those are the most common questions that I get from folks. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I'm sure you've had these questions before if you haven't already gotten them answered. The next section we're going to talk about is not a fun one for me, but I think it'll be really important for you, and it's called My Failures. I talk about where I've made the biggest mistakes, made the stupidest decisions, and lost the most amount of money. And I want you to learn from me. I can't change my past, but hopefully I can help your future.